So we're back here in Python 1.0 once again, probably for the final time. I can't see myself doing any more videos about this, but maybe, if someone comes up with any crazy ideas, I might come back to it. Who knows? So I've already done a video and a stream on this before. You may remember the video that I did using Python 1.0 in 2022. It did very well. I realized during the stream at the very least, that the version of Python that I was using was actually broken. It wasn't supposed to be working like that. You may remember, the random and OS modules didn't exist. The time module was segfaulting whenever you loaded it. That wasn't supposed to happen. At some point along the line, I had compiled it improperly, or just something had gone wrong. I don't really know what, but it didn't work. But during that stream, one of my viewers, Pedro, very kindly put together a virtual machine it's a compiled virtual machine file with Ubuntu 4. So, we were using Ubuntu 8. We've now gone 4 years in the past. But also a fully working version of Python 1.0.1. I thought now that I have this working version, I would go back and finally fix everything that I did in those videos. Now, I'm not going to sit here floundering like I did in that other video. I have already planned everything. I've done all the codes kind of off camera so it all works. In this video, we'll just be kind of talking about it. But yeah, we're going to fix our code. We're going to have perfectly working Python 1.0 programs to the original specifications as well, and beyond in some instances. I kind of treated you a bit. So, first we started a number guessing game. This is task 1. Basically, the idea was to create a console-based number guessing game for numbers between 1 and 10. So in this new version, we import string. And sorry about no dark mode. I can't really get a good dark mode going on this. The cursor color is all wrong and it doesn't work properly. So we're using light mode. Sorry about that. And then we can import whrandom. Now this was actually one of the modules that didn't work when I was doing the video before. So that was somewhat of an issue. And then, we'll do this first actually. So we have a while one loop because we don't have booleans, and we're going to create a function called playaround, but we're going to do everything else first. We have answer equals raw input, play again, and I did actually figure out how to get numerical inputs using raw input, so you'll see that in a second as well. We do if string.lower, so we're not doing answer.lower, we have to do string.lower answer, not in yes or y. Then we just break because we end. Otherwise, we do a print to get a line break, and then we just continue on with the loop. So this play around function here will itself contain a while true loop, or I suppose the closest equivalent of. And then, actually, what we need to do is we need to generate a number first. So number equals whrandom.rand int 1 to 10. And then we have our tries equals 0, which resets every round because this is our function. So we take our guess, which is the raw input of guess a number. And then we try guess equals string.a to I. So this is, I'm not sure what the A stands for, but it's basically to integer. This is how you do it in C++, I believe. And of course, because this was much more of a C wrapper back in the day, or maybe it was C++, so I think it was written in straight C. It's kind of, once I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. But then we just print that is not a number, try again here, and then we do our continue, and that sends us back to the start of the loop to take another input. So if our guess equals number, then we print, I don't know what I didn't do an auto tab there. Congratulations, you win. So this is our winning message, obviously. And then we return. And then if I kind of scroll down a little bit, is it going to let me? Yeah, it is. There we go. Then we could do an elif tries is less than 2. So if we still have tries left, and then I just kind of decided to do if guess is greater than number, print to high. So this is something we didn't do in the video at all, or the stream, actually doing a little mechanism that said if it was too high or too low. This was planned, but by the time I kind of figured out how to get the bare basics working in my broken version of Python 1, I'd lost my mind already at that point, with still another 2 tasks to go. So I was not in a good place. So I kind of forewent it, but I managed to figure out how to do it here. Obviously, it's not that hard, but I was just very overwhelmed at the time. Another mistake I made in that other video was with these print statements, I forgot that up until Python 3, these print statements didn't use brackets. They were a lot closer to assert statements in that sense, which is kind of funny because assert statements are getting proper bracket support now, as of 3.12. Well, I say proper bracket support. It's bracket support for 2-element assert statements, but yeah, those don't have it right now, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so this is kind of our logic loop now. With our print statements that are just statements rather than functions. It's still weird to look at, but there you go. So we have our while once. Shift scroll doesn't work on this editor. I have to go down here. Oh no, I can't go down here. Oh, I'll probably be alright. So we have our, I don't know. It's definitely, there we go. So you have a play around function. You create a number, have the choice. This is largely the same as it was in the video. This is the most complete one we had. So there's not many changes here. The only main difference is that it now, this is the other thing I wanted to do, where, it asks you if you want to play again at the end. So if I load it'd be applications, system tools, terminal, and inexplicably the keyboard shortcut to zoom in actually works on this terminal. Didn't work on the other one. So if we do pi, and then it would be number guessing game. And yes, I did set that alias. So you guess a number, say 5, it's too low, 7, also too low, 9. Yeah, we win, and then we can play again like that. Guess a number 3, too high, and then, all right, let me see if I can lose. I kind of want to lose. Oh, we'll just do that. Give it a number was 10. So we play again, no, and it kicks us out of the program. So it's a perfectly functional program. This terminal has gone off the screen, which is a slightly odd one. But yeah, that is the first task done, which is nice. It was quite simple, actually. The second one, the delta calculator, this one was actually originally going to be calculating the number or the amount of time until my next birthday, which is the 22nd of September. However, I have actually experimented with this a bit, and I've now got to a situation where you can actually input a date, a month, and a year, and it will tell you the amount of time until then, which is actually kind of cool. So import string again, import sys, and import time, which doesn't segfault now, which is fantastic. And then we take an input, which is also, I don't know what the deal is with this syntax highlighting. This raw input, for example, puts a black background on it. I don't know why. I can't turn that off, so I don't know what the deal with that is. We enter a date. It doesn't have to be month or day. If it's like 9th or something, you can get away with not having a leading 0. But it's just easy to put that format in when you're actually typing it out. And then string.split fields. Now this is an interesting one. This was removed by Python 1.4. So by the time Python 1.4 came out, split fields was still there, but split, the normal split, could do what split fields does. So split splits by white space, split fields splits by custom character. And then we're going to get the number of fields, because if number of fields does not equal 3, then we're going to say print invalid date passed must be dd and then we just exit 2. So invalid date passed must be date, month, year, and then we have to use sys.exit because quit and exit weren't a thing back in Python 1.0, which is funny. We're using exit code 2 because this is the usage exit code. 0 means it exited fine. 1 means there was a problem with the actual program. 2 means there was a user input error. And then the others are all a bit whack. I think 127 is keyboards. Was that? No, that's 130. 127 is command not found. 130 is keyboard break. And then I don't know what the others are. But yeah. So for I in xrange fields, we do a try. And then we do kind of the same thing again. So d fields I equals string dot a to I, d fields I. There's no enumerate. I did try. I'm not surprised it wasn't there. So we do kind of have to do it like this. The X range was, well, so in Python 2, this was the generator one. I don't actually know what the difference between range and X range is in Python 1. I didn't really look it up. But it's fine. It works. So I'm fine with it. And invalid date pass. So again, we if any of these aren't a number, then we pass an invalid date, and then we put must be date, month, year. And here we are, sysexit to once again. And then down here is where things get really kind of a bit weird. So we do our target date tuple equals d fields, sorry, this is a tuple, d fields 2, which is the year, d fields 1, which is the month, and d fields 0, which is the day. And then we do the hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, which is somehow different, and the -1. Well, I say somehow different. It does take them as different arguments for some bizarre reason. But there you go. And a -1, I don't remember what that does either, but that does need to be there. And then we have our delta equals time.makeTime, the target. This converts our date tuple into a Unix timestamp. And then we could subtract that by time.time to get the amount of seconds between the two. Then we set our date. And then this is very similar to what we did in the stream. So those of you that stream will be familiar with this. So we do delta divided by 86,400 for the days. For the hours, we do int delta 3600. Now this is a total number of days, hours, etc. There is an extra step to get kind of the number of days or the number of hours within a day, for example. But we'll cover that when we get to it. That's minus mins, or that's minus m, sorry, times 60. And then that needs to be a second set of brackets, yeah. So in the end, we do d. We print d days. H, fireworks going off at 5:42 in the evening. That's great, isn't it? If you can hear that, I do apologise. Day times 24. So we're now, getting the number of hours minus the number of hours in all of the days. So this is essentially getting the remainder, I suppose. There might be an easier way to do it. This was just the way I worked out. If there is a way to do it via modulo, then do let me know. But I didn't really experiment with it because I was just kind of happy that it worked, really. And then we do, and then for S, it's just that. And then if you go back to the terminal, we do pi delta calculator. And if you put my birthday, which is the number lock isn't on, that's good. The 22nd of September, 2023. Fields, I've done it wrong. Oh yeah, because this is D field. I think this is D fields. No, this is N fields. So it was fields in my plan, but I changed it to N fields because I thought it made a bit more sense. That was my bad. So 22nd of September 2023 is my next birthday. And we can see that's in 319 days, 5 hours, 16 minutes, and 19 seconds. Let's do the same thing again, but for Christmas. So the 25th of December 2022 is in 48 days, 6 hours, 16 minutes, and 7 seconds, which seems right to me. So yeah. Our third task was to count the number of lines within the Python source code. So this one was kind of really quite odd. I had to do some real finagling to get this one to work. So we do actually need POSIX path. Turns out OS didn't have what we need for this. So I was right to use POSIX path anyway, and then we import string again. And then I went for a object-oriented approach. Because for some reason, although the global syntax is recognized, globals themselves don't act as globals. For some reason, you can't use global variables inside functions. I don't know why. This was the only way to do it. I know you're not really supposed to use globals anyway, but for something like this, it seemed fairly trivial. But we're doing it as an object-oriented approach. Apparently, the way that classes are built and everything hasn't really changed. So obviously it was pretty good the first time. And then we have this, I can't remember if I figured this out in the video or not. I don't think I did. I might have figured it out in the stream. So we have, okay, so I'm going to do this bottom bit first, just so it makes a bit more sense. So we have our lock equals lock, and then we have our POSIX path.walk, which takes the directory to walk. So in this case, it's here, and we're doing all the folders because why not? And then we pass a callable that is called every single time on every file. So this is lock.visit for us, and then we pass an argument which we don't use, so I'm just passing 0. So what that will do is it will pass the directory name and a list of all the names within the directory to this visit method inside the lock, and this lock then counts the number of total lines, and then we can use that to count between directories. Because as globals didn't work, when this you can't return anything out of this visit, so there was no way of actually keeping a total between multiple directories. So this is kind of how it just had to work. And then I'm going to finish off down here. String.rjust. So this is how you justify something, or justify something. String lock.total, and then 6, and then total. All this justifying is just to make it look like the WC commands, which I thought was quite a nice touch. So if I just scroll back over my notes. So we can do for name in names. If our name, is in a dot or a double dot, so if it's the current directory or the parent directory, then we don't care. It will always resolve to 0. It doesn't error, but it does always resolve to 0, so we don't want it in there. And then f equals open dir name plus, because there's no context managers yet. So we have to do it like this, and then you have to pass the read mode. Lines equals len string.split field. So this is kind of a major issue I was having in the video about how splits just didn't work at all, and how string attributes have how string objects just have no attributes at all. It's because it's all done in the string library, and I didn't think to look, because honestly, by the time I got to this point, my brain was completely and totally fried. But yeah, and we do the same thing here with the fancy output. 6 works well. The number of lines I think is like 143,000, so we do need the 6 in there, plus name. And we do self.total equals self.total plus lines. There isn't any plus equals. And then f.close. And I don't think we have to do anything else. I think that's it. So now if we go back into the terminal, we can do Python lock. And we've got an invalid token. I don't know where that's come from. What on earth? Oh, these aren't... They're a space over for some reason. Why on earth was that a thing? Okay, that was weird. There we go. It's counting them all. It takes a lot longer the first time it does it. So if you do it again, it's far quicker. I don't know why. But as you can see, it's going through each and every one. Of course, the way the console works, we can't actually see beyond a certain point. But we're counting all the lines in each individual file. And then we get this nice little output. It's 148,000, actually. 148,084 lines in total. That includes all the documentation and everything like that. All the modules and stuff seem to be split across 2 directories, so I thought it'd be better to include that. Of course, if you're more curious about more specifics, then you can run this code yourself in a virtual machine and see if you get a different figure. But that's it. That's all the tasks that we had in Python 1 in the original video that I recorded actually really rather a long time ago now. If you haven't seen that yet, I would recommend going and seeing it. It is very funny. It's one of the videos that I'm more proud of because of just the editing on it is really good. And I just really enjoyed making it. It doesn't seem like it when you're watching it at times, but I did really enjoy making it. I was very proud of the final artifact. So I would implore you to go watch that if you haven't already. If you like the video, then leave a like to let me know. If there's anything else you want me to do in Python 1.0, or indeed anything really, then do leave them in the comments below. I read every single one, so your feedback would be greatly appreciated. If you want to support the channel monetarily, you can do so in one of two ways. The first of which is to become a patron using the link in the description. The second of which is to become a member using the join button. £1 a month on either, and you can be on this screen like these people. And I will see you in the next video, where I believe it's ArgParse CLI stuff, and then the following week is Click. So there'll be a few weeks of command line interface shenanigans going on. So I will see you for that.